It shows how welcoming and safe this space is because so many people continue to come back. And like, I know for me and a couple of my other friends, like, it's a part of the week to look forward to.
Just thought that it was lovely and my kind of place.
It makes you not feel alone and just feel like you're always with someone that knows you. And the only downside are the protesters, and most of the adults here know how to take care of those people. My mom, she once spent like 3 hours at an event trying to find out why. Why are you so hateful? Why do you think this is wrong? And because my mom, she's a Christian, but part of Christianity is not judging, and you're not practicing what you're preaching, basically.
Welcome back to I'm Feeling Queer Today, a podcast that amplifies the voices of LGBTQ+ young people like me for listeners like you, whoever you are. Brought to you by the Future Perfect Project. I'm your host, Lily Muller.
And I'm your other host, Eric Eubank. And this season, we're taking a queer road trip all around the country to answer the big question. What is it like to be queer where you live? This episode is part 2 of our visit to Spartanburg, South Carolina. If you haven't already, go back and listen to part 1, and then meet us back here when you're done. We'll be right here when you come back.
At the top of the episode, you heard from some of the youth at the Uplift Outreach Center in South Carolina, and a special rendition of our theme song performed by Uplift's resident clarinet player. This episode, you'll meet more youth from the greater Spartanburg area who call the Uplift Outreach Center a second home. We'll be taking a look at the honest realities of living in South Carolina as a queer person, from coming out to the impacts of local legislation. Plus, the youth of Uplift share their first queer crushes and messages of hope for the next generation of LGBTQIA+ young people. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I'm Valentine, and welcome to the Queer Adventure. I'm going to teach you how to find your identity in the LGBTQIA+ Wiki. All you have to do is type in LGBTQIA.wiki. The wiki is designed to be a helpful resource for explaining identities that are often unknown, unheard of, or difficult to find information for. They have orientations, sexual orientation. Then we have gender. To find my identity, you would have to go to fluid genders. When you click on fluid genders, there would be like links, and then it says this category is for any genders that change. Then there's subcategories. When you click on a gender, it will take you to it's like a normal Wikipedia page. I didn't look through all of them. I just kind of was scrolling through, and I found a gender that I really like the name. I was like, hey, gender fun, what's this? I like the flag, I like the identity, I like the tone. It's all like very me.
Okay, so will you help me find my orientation?
Yes. What would you say your romantic orientation feels like?
That's a really good question. I would say I'm mostly like women, and I identify as genderqueer. So
if you were to go to gender-loving gender, the category gender-loving gender, you would find a list, and what I think would be your best bet to find it would be in the F category, since those are mostly feminine, gender-loving gender.
Okay. This looks cool. Floric, a non-woman attracted to or desiring having relationships with other non-women. That's really close, but I am attracted to women. So I'm going to keep looking. Oh, look, there's a whole sapphic area. There's one that says sapphic for sapphic. A woman-aligned individual who chooses to only be in sapphic and queer relationships. Oh my gosh, this is me. And the flag has a flower on it.
Just like the the Achillean one. It's like the masculine counterpart of sapphic.
Achillean. Well, Valentine, thank you for helping me find out my orientation.
You're welcome. That is all for this segment. Bye.
My first queer crush was probably Timothy Chalamet, I think around 11. I've seen him in interviews and stuff, and he's like really sweet.
My first queer crush was one of my best friends who was a girl back when I was 7. At the time, felt so ashamed for it because I was an active churchgoer, and at the time I thought, oh my God, this is so awful. And honestly, I wish someone would have told little me that you're fine, girly. And I'm so glad that I had that one crush all that time ago.
My first really queer crush, I was working in a candy store and this girl came in and she had bright pink hair, Ninja Turtle earrings. She had a presence. I knew I was bisexual at this point, but I had never actually gone out with someone of the same gender. All my coworkers really hyped me up and they were like, go get her number. So I did. I walked up and I was like, hi, listen, I'm really sorry about this. You're gorgeous. And I think I stumbled over my words. I was like, are you gay? And she's like, oh my God. And she kind of pulled me away from her family. And I was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, oh my God, I did not just out this person to her family. That would be so awful. But obviously I was on the clock, so I couldn't talk for terribly long. And she left, and she texted me almost immediately after she left, which was awesome. We would go to Barnes & Noble, just walk around, hold hands, look at the books and all that stuff. Very summer romance, kind of teenage years kind of stuff.
I came out to my mom at 2 a.m. in a Miami Subs parking lot. We were doing DoorDash because this was peak 2020 and we were like, okay. I was the one that was tasked with holding the food to make sure it doesn't fall. I was like, oh yeah, I don't really like my dead name anymore. She was like, well, what do I call you? I was like, oh. I've been going by Jamie for a while at Uplift. And she was like, oh, okay. And she's been really accepting for 4 years now.
I remember thinking it was just normal to love everyone because I just thought if you love someone, then that's kind of it. There's no problem.
I thought as a kid me thought that everyone wanted to marry men. The men just did not do it because if we all married each other, who would the women marry?
I met this trans guy in my math class. I went to go sit with him and he so happened to be sitting with this group of people. And it turns out most of them were LGBT.
A lot of my friend group, actually before any of us came out, we just kind of gravitated towards each other and a lot of us ended up being queer.
I like this community. They're nice.
I really enjoy how everyone just kind of treats each other's family. 6th, 7th grade, a lot of people were being I'm queer. I wanted to fit in. So I was like, oh yeah, me too. And then I just kind of stuck with that for a couple of years. And then a couple years down the line, I met this girl and I was like, oh my God, I actually am bisexual. That's crazy.
It was really not a smart decision, but I came out by posting a TikTok. And then I was like, yeah, so here's my chosen name and pronouns.
I gave a note to a girl that I had liked. It was just hey, I kind of had a crush on you. I was wondering if I could get your number or something. She ended up giving the note to the vice principal. I got called to the principal's office and most of the school found out.
I didn't really have a crazy coming out story. I was just like, hey, I'm this. Okay. I thought it was nice, but I thought it was kind of weird that we don't really talk about it. I mean, my dad doesn't really understand. He knows I have a girlfriend. That's about it. He's just kind of like, do you got any guy friends? And I'm like, I have one. I'm not interested in him.
I know for a fact that I do not find men attractive. This is not a diss on the men because you guys are awesome. You guys are great. Most of you.
I'm still questioning my identity because you can just flow with it. And that's the great part of being queer is that you don't ever have to be afraid to be what you are. It's your body. You choose what you want to do, what you want to be, who you want to love.
You know, you can be indecisive and still figure out who you are in the end. I say you do what you want, my man.
I love hearing about coming out stories because I feel like sometimes they are really huge, crazy situations that you find yourself in, but I also really love when it's not something big and it's just kind of like a I know, you know, we know situation, or when it comes out from gravitating towards other baby queers. And I feel like that is equally as powerful. And I think hearing this variety of stories is so eye-opening to the fact that as queer youth especially, we're still figuring ourselves out, and that might mean coming out at a slower pace, but it's all part of the journey. And I love the line about queerness being very fluid. I think that's a big part about coming out.
Very wise people down in Spartanburg that are like, you're always going to be questioning. It's okay, because it is. But I think that that's something that people can struggle to wrap their heads around. So they seem like such a funny group, and I'm so sad that I have not gotten to meet them, but I'm so happy I got to kind of meet them through listening to this. Obsessed with the fact that one of these participants was like, I wanted to fit in, so I said I was queer. And it worked out in the end, I guess.
Hearing all of these stories really does shed light on the fact that even in places where being queer, and especially being trans, is really scary, there is these pockets of magic. And I don't know, finding out who you are is the most magical part about being queer in my eyes. And yeah, I feel like hearing all of these stories really sends a powerful message.
Just a quick note before we get back to the episode. We have some segments coming up that might be triggering or upsetting to some listeners. This is a content warning for transphobia and physical violence. After this, though, we'll end the episode with some messages of hope for queer youth of the future from our Spartanburg friends, so feel free to jump ahead if you'd like. Up next, the youth of Uplift share their thoughts on Bill H4624, a piece of legislation that bans gender-affirming care for minors in South Carolina.
I think it's 4624, just went through, which is banning, gender-affirming healthcare.
People under the age of 18, like trans people, can't start hormones or trans procedures.
I went to the state capitol at one point, but it was disappointing. The level of anything that we do have that tries to fight things legislatively is ineffective. But the problem is there's no other alternative.
Well, my mom was about to let me start puberty blockers. So now I don't have the option to anymore. To ban it completely for under 18 is just they're irreversible changes that puberty can make versus puberty blockers are just temporary until more things are figured out. It's all that does is make you a bit of a late bloomer. There are plenty of people that are naturally.
I was planning to start testosterone this year. Hearing about the bill was a stab to the heart.
They sent a lot of experiences about trans people to the people trying to pass the law, and they still just did it. Even though if they were focusing on our well-being, they would have stopped it. There's millions of people that told their stories about how it will affect them, and they still passed it.
The government does not care what that's going to do to children. They care that they hate trans people, and some of the people who voted for it don't even actually hate trans people. That's just the political zeitgeist, and they care more about getting reelected than anything else.
A lot of the time, if you want to start puberty blockers or stuff like that, you have to talk to your therapist, and they have to diagnose you with dysphoria. They will grill you on your past, on your dysphoria, and they want to know how long you've been feeling this way. It's very much anti-trans propaganda to be oh, I didn't know the side effects. They just let me get surgery right away. It's not that accessible. It's just not true. Because of the state that we live in, I think it is a step into banning trans healthcare in general.
On that bill, what I'm concerned about is there's a forced outing provision. If somebody at the school thinks that a kid is at risk of receiving gender-affirming healthcare, what does that mean? Then they have to tell the kid's parents. I'd have to go tell your parents, or I could lose the ability to teach and then lose my livelihood. But that's so vague that it could also just mean, oh, this little girl is too much of a tomboy, I'm going to go tell her, or oh, this little boy is too feminine, or
Like, I've always been more kind of a tomboy than a very girly girl.
Like, I grew up feminine, but I had boy hobbies, quote unquote. My first thing with Thomas the Tank Engine, I preferred shopping in the boys section of the store.
I bought a binder, see how that would feel.
My makeup and fashion, punk, goth, grunge. That's how I express my queerness.
I Googled gender neutral names, and I sat there and I made a little list of all the cool names that I found.
And we got some more pride jewelry of lesbian flags and non-binary flags so that I can express myself a little bit more now that I'm older.
if you're not gay, we're not trying to make you gay. We're not trying to make you trans. And half of these people are afraid that we're trying to actively convert their children to gaytheism or something. I don't know.
I don't understand where the misconception comes from. We're saying be yourself, and then people are saying, oh, I feel comfortable with being myself and willing to come out. I wish I understood just how certain we are. I know that sometimes, you have to go through the journey of questioning your gender, but by the time you get around to deciding what surgeries you want, there's no question. Just the process of paying for the surgery itself, that's enough to know that that's what you want with your life. Tomorrow I will be getting top surgery, which is a super huge step in my transition. Actually, probably the only real medical intervention that I currently plan to do. A therapist that I found, one opening finally worked, and we got a good chunk of the letter done. It concluded everything about my gender experience and why I want top surgery. Part of the reality hasn't really hit me yet because it's such a dream that always felt so far in the future, and now it's actually happening. It's amazing. I feel I'll finally be able to look in the mirror and not be imagining something else.
Whenever I draw myself, I depict myself as a male because I do identify as a masculine gender. I am trans. This is how I feel. This is the way I am. Why not be proud of myself and draw myself as the way I want to be?
Homophobia is I feel it's really not a word we should use, because homophobia is a fear. And that's not a fear. That's a judgment. You're not afraid of it. No, you're judging people because it's something you think is wrong. LGBTQ should support other LGBTQ, and I think people who aren't part of either of those should support both groups also. I think humans should support humans. It's really that simple.
I'm Ray. My pronouns are they, them. I am 18 years old. I've spent pretty much my whole life here in Spartanburg. So, my biggest, honestly kind of crappy queer story is, this was in 3rd grade, and I was talking to my best friend at the time about how I had a crush on this girl in our class. Well, one of my bullies at the time overheard me talking to her about that, and he spread it around the entire school. She was really nice about it, the girl that I liked. However, a lot of other people weren't, and I didn't even know what being gay was. So you can imagine my confusion. And at the end of that week, the principal called me into her office and had a sit down with me about how the school would always accept me, no matter what I liked or who I liked, and then sent me home. I will always be confused about why she sent me home instead of the person who caused the issues in the first place. So I never got the opportunity to come out. That kind of got taken from me. My principal decided to share information that she shouldn't have shared, telling my parents the information that I liked a girl. My mom had been the one to come and get me, sat me down outside, and told me, "We'll always love you no matter what." I was honestly genuinely confused. I was the 3rd grader who didn't know why they were being told this, because they didn't know anything about being gay or being a lesbian or being trans. They just knew that they had a crush on a girl, and they had had crushes on girls before. I vividly remember looking at my mom and genuinely asking her, most girls don't like other girls? As far as people in Spartanburg and their different reactions to me being queer, there were people who either hated me for it or were indifferent. I had never found someone who was actively proud of me for being open about who I was. In 5th grade, I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it has been 9 years. I think I will always remember this. One of the people who had been bullying me saw me going to the bathroom, pinned me to the wall, and held a pocket knife to my throat, and told me I better find Christ or he was going to make me find him. From then on, I kind of became more of a loner. I didn't talk to very many other people. I had a very small group of friends. Because of the way I was treated, I would do anything to please anyone. I would stay in the closet if I had to. My mom and dad both started seeing what was happening to me. And then I became friends with other queer kids, and they were seeing what was happening to them. And my mom would see it on the news. My dad would see it on Facebook. How these queer kids and these trans kids were getting harassed solely for being queer. My mom wanted to find me a support system, and so she came across Uplift. Uplift has significantly improved my life because now not only do I have other kids my age that are here to support me, I also have adults who understand what I've gone through. I don't have to force myself to be someone else. I can just be myself and have people that actually like me as me. That's possible. So that very much helped break the cycle.
Queer youth of the future. Find who you are and do what you need to become that person. It's okay to not know yet. You have all the time in the world to figure it out. Don't worry about what others think. Now is not the time to people please. Your identity is an incredibly personal thing, and you are free to express it in any way that does not harm others. Being queer is no trend. Our shared experiences bind us together with a deep, sometimes unspoken connection. Don't be afraid to be loud and proud. Your identity and love for others is beautiful. Let that beauty shine and help heal the world.
Be yourself. Try to at least. Stick to who you are.
There are people out there like you that want you to go on. You just have to find your safe space, your people.
We need to stick together. The unity is like the most beautiful part about our community.
Keep those who support you close to you.
Never let someone tell you how you should be. It's how you feel. It's your preferences. That's you, not them. So don't listen to other people.
Don't think that you have to have an identity right now. It's okay to question. There's not a time limit on it.
Well, that's fine. If your identity changes, it will. We're all human.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Lily Muller.
And I'm Eric Eubank. And you've been listening to I'm Feeling Queer Today.
If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and share the show with your friends, family, or even your favorite houseplant. A 5-star rating goes a long way to support us in making more episodes of the podcast.
If you're new here, welcome to the party. Make sure you go back and check out seasons 1 and 2. We think you'll like them a lot. New episodes drop every Thursday, so stay tuned to see where we'll be going next on our queer road trip.
We want to hear from you. That's why we set up our own online voicemail box for you, our listeners, to leave us messages. Go to speakpipe.com/IFQT and drop us a line. That's speakpipe.com/IFQT. Let us know what you think of the podcast, any topics you want us to cover on the pod, and don't forget to ask yourself, how am I feeling queer today?
For more information and resources about this episode, check out the show notes in the description or check out the episode page at thefutureperfectproject.org/podcast.
If you or a young person you know between the ages of 13 and 24 is currently in crisis, visit thetrevorproject.org for LGBTQIA+ specific support through text and chat. Or call 1-866-488-7386. These resources will be in the show notes too.
To learn more about the Future Perfect Project, head to our website, thefutureperfectproject.org, and find us on social media at The Future Perfect Project.
Thank you to all of our wonderful contributors from the Uplift Outreach Center: Valentine, Haven, Israel, Jaden, Jay, Sydney, Ray, Stella, Jamie Lynn, and August. And thank you to Uplift's Program Director Jody Snyder and to Uplift Volunteer and Treasurer Ada Bradley.
This episode was recorded in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and produced by Hanny Saba, Emma Jane Soslowski, and our dear executive producer and mentor, Julie Novak. Julie, your legacy will live on in all of us and in every episode of this podcast.
IFQT is produced by the Future Perfect Project with support from Radio Kingston, WKNY, Kingston, New York, and our I'm Feeling Queer Today podcast cohort: Alex Massey, Parker McKenzie, Samuel Smalls, Eric Eubank,
Lily Moeller, and Zorian Edwards. Our theme song is performed and composed by Alex Massey and produced by Emma Jane Soslowski. Additional music from Epidemic Sound. Episode editing, mixing, and mastering by Emma Jane Soslowski. This episode was hosted by me, Eric Eubank.
And me, Lily Muller. Special thanks to executive producer and mentor Celeste Lacine, as well as Future Perfect Project team members Ryan Amador, Kiko Wan, and Aaliyah Jamil.